Hi everyone, welcome back to the Hollywood Actors Guide to Surviving the Film and Television Industry. We are definitely leaning into the surviving part this week. You know, I like to occasionally bring things on this podcast I know no other acting podcasts are doing. So let's talk about something called negative conditioning. B.F. Skinner said, "A person who has been punished is not less inclined to behave in a given way. At best, he learns how to avoid punishment." Unfortunately, through conditioning, through culture, and probably 1,000 other things, we may have learned some things along the way that are not only not true, but may have warped your perception of reality. And being aware of these things will go a long way to help you stay a focused, positive, and open actor. Because you may not be happy because you are stuck in a negativity bias loop. I looked that up on Wikipedia because I wanted to make sure I explained it to you correctly, because I know a lot of people have not heard of negativity bias loop. The negativity bias, also known as the negativity effect, is the notion that even when of equal intensity, things of a more negative nature, or unpleasant thoughts, emotions, or social interactions, harmful traumatic events, have a greater effect on one's psychological state and process than a neutral or positive effect. In other words, something that happens to you that's negative in your life is going to have a bigger effect on you than the most positive of positive things, according to science. So, here's the thing, and this is so important to you in your mental health as an actor. Unfortunately, our brains are designed to remember more of the bad than good. Last year, maybe you had 5 great callbacks and a few bookings, but you dwell on all those auditions you didn't get a callback for. There's an article in Psychology Today called "Our Brain's Negative Bias: Why Our Brains Are More Highly Attuned to Negative News." It's by Hara Estraf Marano. According to that article, this is what brought up the idea. I was reading that article to do this podcast today. According to that article, we need about 5 good things to happen to 1 bad to be satisfied. This would be an amazing ratio to fill with auditions alone, like 5 bad auditions for 1 great audition. That would be so good. But that doesn't happen, does it? It almost never happens. So this is why it's so important to have so much more going on in your life than sitting by the phone waiting for your agent to call with an audition, okay? There's this thing called epigenetic imprinting. Epigenetic imprinting is a theory that whatever we experience in the womb, we become addicted to. And in other words, if your mom had a lot of adrenaline, you tend to seek it out. It makes sense because when you're in the womb, you're very susceptible to, what do I need to survive? Adrenaline? Okay, I need adrenaline to survive. The science behind this is so heavy and beyond my ability to explain here, but I wanted to include this as an additional insight into how many ways this colorful universe is affecting your life, and maybe even the very reasons why you became an actor. Does all of this make you feel overwhelmed? Get angry, cry, go into the woods and scream at a tree. Even actors can bottle up their emotions or just have unreleased stress from a performance or audition. Let it out. Being happy means knowing you don't have to be happy all the time. Don't let all this information overpower you. Don't bottle it up. We're so conditioned to keep everything in. And as actors, our job is to let everything out. And I have been victim to this even very recently, where I'm just holding everything in because I am going through so much good and bad right now. It's just like everything's all over the place. And I'm just holding in all the negative emotions, and all of a sudden it just comes out in tears at like 3 a.m., right? That's not what you want. You want to be able to get it out when you need to get it out and be able to hold it when you need to hold it, right? Listen, if you're waiting tables, that you don't want to be crying at your tables, right? I get it. You can't just do it all the time. But when you get home, you need to know when you need to let something out, let it out. Work on your gratitude. I know I said it before, but in case you forgot, and this can be the hardest when you are in a sad state, but it's so effective. Make a list. I know someone who used their journal to write what they are grateful for every day. She writes until she is in a blissful state. She numbered every listing, and last I checked, she had listed over 3,000 things she has to be grateful for. Trade expectation for appreciation. Instead of expecting to book a role, appreciate the fact that you even got into the room. To work in this industry, it is a huge advantage to be able to read and write, let alone speak English. Maybe that can be number one on your list. I hear many actors go, I don't have anything to be grateful for. Really? You're speaking English to me right now, and that's still the number one produced language in the film and TV market in the world. So you should be grateful for that. So I also wanted to talk about, I almost, a couple weeks ago, I made a podcast about red light therapy and how that was a game changer for me. There is one more game changer that has to do with like health and wellness. So we're going to move away from the negativity bias, and I'm just going to have a short, teeny tiny little blurb about this. A little side note for my actors who care about the look and health of their nails and skin and hair. Collagen peptides for me have been a game changer. After taking the supplement, I had nails for the first time in my life. They're actually really hard for me to cut, whereas before I just had thin, like the worst nails ever. It's not a direct way to find happiness, but if you're stressed and worried about your looks, I believe in getting some collagen peptides and adding this to your regimen and being grateful for hearing about something that's actually, helpful. And I do think it actually helps keep your skin youthful and glowing. And so with all the negativity in this industry and how looks focused it is, I was like, you know what, maybe ending the podcast with something that has truly actually helped me. And I'm not even going to name a brand. If you want to email me and want a brand recommendation, I'll give you one, but I'm not here to promote a product. Or at least not that product, right? I at least wanted to give you a little actionable thing at the end of my little negativity bias explanation podcast. And why did I go through all that? Why did I go through all that negativity bias? It's because you need to be aware of how little you're focusing on the positive and how much you're focusing on the negative, because it is absolutely human nature to do so. I think we do it because it helps us survive in the wild. And, because it's like, great, that one good thing happened, but these other things, could kill us. So we need to pay more attention to those things, and we're hardwired for it. And just being aware of it can really help you, not only for your happiness as an actor, but realizing you're probably more successful in this business than you're giving yourself credit for. If you need a reader out there, go to weaudition.com, use promo code HAG25, HAG25. In the meantime, break a leg out there, and remember, you are not alone.